and welcome everybody. Welcome back. You know me, I'm the person with the blue background type thing. We have Mark and we have Mark, and my name's Peter. So to avoid confusion, for the next half an hour, I'll be known as Mark, if that helps for everybody. We've got Mark Hancock and we've got Mark Rose here, and we're here to talk about the excellent title so far. This could be a work in progress. You could help us out by making some suggestions. The Watford FC Women's Monthly Video Programme podcast type thing. You probably get the idea. We've not really settled on one yet. We'll see how it goes. Let's go to Mark Rose first. Mark, sir, welcome. Lovely to see you.
Thank
Obviously, you. With Pidge calling a day after a long and valued stint on Tailor-Made Army. Basically, we've snaffled up Mark on a free transfer as he became available in the free market for us. Only slightly less disappointing than Bacuna, obviously, as free agents go. But other than that, sir, good to have you on board. As the season has started so far, obviously we've been all following the women's game for a few years now in terms of it. What's been your overall thoughts before we get into the deep dive so far on this season and the move back to Kings Langley from Wealdstone?
I've actually been quite impressed so far. It's been a good start, solid start. We've assembled a brilliant team and retained quite a few from last season as well, which I think was very key to it all. But yeah, so far it's looking good. It's looking promising. We're up there already. But yeah, I'm just enjoying it and loving it. And it's just great to be watching them again.
Good stuff. Absolutely. Mr. Mark Hancock, so there you are. There you are. Now, Vicarage Road, Mark sits one row in front of me, and he's currently sitting one row in front of me, which just seems applicable.
Surprising I'm not sick of you yet.
Well, I know. Basically, I'm not quite as annoying in this context, but I'll give it a good go. But I think it's a really nice environment. It's all surrounded. It's got this nice canopy of trees. My wife even came with me the other day. But other than that, it's been a success. So what can you do? How have you and the kids found it? Because it feels to me like it's nice and family friendly.
Yeah, totally. I mean, me and my son first started going when we played at Kings Langley before, and we've got good memories there. And in terms of convenience, it's 10 minutes away from my house. So I was buzzing when I heard that they were moving back, because Ruislip's not the easiest place to get to at times. But I just really enjoy being there. It just feels like home for the women's team, to me anyway.
Good. No, this is good. Now, we're going to get onto the team, but there is going to be a recurring theme, which is, roughly speaking, us mucking about as much as possible. That's mucking with a silent F, by the way. And so we're going to come on to the very first chance for these two gentlemen to guess what the squad occasionally say about each other. I nearly said against each other. Well, you'll be the judge. We're going to play who will be thrown under the bus. I went along to the training ground the other week and I spoke to some of the squad, and I asked them a series of quick questions. And I want to know, if I put the question to you, who do you suspect, before we find out who has been thrown under the bus? Who do you think in the squad may be susceptible to this? Part one, everybody. There's 3 of these each episode. There's only this episode at the moment. Who knows? Anyway, the first question is, it's also known as the democracy game, but throwing under the bus. Let's be frank. That's what it is. At karaoke, we said, who would get basically a red card? Who cannot hang a note? Who cannot carry a tune? Now, I grant you that watching these girls play football is possibly not the best way to determine who, but I think we've all got our suspicions. Rosa, who are you suspecting may be included in the pull them away from the mic kind of area of the game?
I'm gonna go with the one and only Miss Flo Fife.
Flo Fife. Okay. You don't think she can sing? Okay, well,
no.
Who knows? I think what we're going to have to do is basically kind of add some kind of halftime entertainment, take it from the Super Bowl, and make Flo sing. Who's going to be joining Flo, Mr. Hancock? Who else is going to be caterwauling at halftime?
I hate to say this, I'm a big fan of this player, but I think Anne Maywold, possibly.
Annie was one of the players who was giving answers.
I'm not great.
LaShawn April.
I would actually put myself up there, because I wouldn't even sing.
Myself up there, I can't sing.
Yeah,
100%.
I'd put Maddie, or I'm gonna say Annie maybe. I feel like she's got a really voice when you sing it.
Maddie.
Daisy. Jay on the pitch though.
I'm pretty awful, I'm not gonna lie. I've got a really bad voice, so it's gonna have to be me. I'm probably one of the worst I've ever heard.
Some of them were being nice. Some of them were being nice and saying, no, it's me. I'm the one who basically causes all the problems. I did love the Dre reference. Now, for anybody who hasn't seen the women's team, I've taken my son a couple of times, and a few years back, he gave Dre the nickname of Honey Badger. And I think it was basically, I said, why? I thought, honey, that's quite a nice thing. And he said, oh, I think you quite like the look of it. Let's be quite frank. It's fair enough. But then he turned around and he went, yeah, but no, it's not that. It's the fact that she attacks everything. And that's probably why Dre is quite well known for a red card. Never mind. So we've done a bit of mucking about. Let's have a quick look at the league form and the league games to date, first of all. So basically 4 wins, and the only non-win so far of literally of the season was a draw away down at Lewis, which is always going anywhere called the Dripping Pan is never exactly the greatest start in the world. Mark, you were down at Lewis, weren't you? How did the game start fare there?
Well, unfortunately, I only turned up at half time because I got stuck on the M25 for 3.5 hours. So I had the worst ride down there, but managed to get in at half time for absolutely nothing, courtesy of the boys who I was with decided to walk in front of me, and I just casually walked in behind them, convinced them I'd already paid. No, I was going to say that from what all the guys and girls that were down there told me, the first half was a bit of a write-off, but the second half we were much more at it, and we were unlucky. We were very unlucky not to score, but saying that, Lewis had a couple of chances as well. They could have easily nicked it off us, which we were desperately trying to avoid. They hit the post and the crossbar, and they still put the ball over the top as well. So we got away with one on the opening day. Given the conditions as well, it was blisteringly hot. To nab a point down there, and it's not really a good stomping ground for us down at Lewis, because the last few years we haven't had much success. So to come away with a point and a clean sheet, I was very relieved at the end.
Yeah, and it's one of those clubs people may be familiar with, Lewis, because they were the first ones to turn around and say, no, we're going to have a pay parity. And they take women's football seriously down there, just because it's not one of the best known club names in football. In women's football, no, it absolutely is. At home, we played Plymouth. Let's have a look at some of the goals whilst we're doing that. There's Flo Fife doing what she does best, which is apparently not singing, according to Mark, but there we go. There we go. Annie Rossiter playing in. Maddie Perry got both of these goals. A lovely little touch here, and buries this top right. I was quite impressed with Plymouth. We played them last season, and they beat us down there in the cup 1-0, but everybody went, well, how on earth has that happened? No offence meant, Plymouth, but when we brought them to the Vic, they got an absolute shoeing, and I thought they looked a lot more. I thought they looked disciplined. I thought they looked hardworking, but we looked like we were on our uppers and quite useful. And it was the first thing I thought was Maddie Perry, who came in last season, and I didn't think quite got firing on all cylinders, has now settled and really is a productive member of the squad, isn't she, Mark? That's either Mark.
Yeah, totally. I mean, she's playing out wide more this season, which I think I've spoke to her and she said it's a new position. She's learning it, but she's doing really well. She's been getting on the goals. She's difficult to defend against. She's not the tallest, but she's quite strong. She's athletic. She puts herself about, and she is playing really well at the moment.
And I think one of the things that you'll see if you get down to one of the women's games is we will play with 3 up front. So you'll have 2 wide wingers come forwards who, when the ball goes down the far side, they get in at the back stick, which is what Maddie Perry did there for the first goal. But they're also capable of getting the ball and either getting to the byline or cutting in and then having a go as well. So there's a lot of shots and efforts on target, and she really has, I think, come into this season fantastically well. Now, you just heard Mark Rose say that I didn't get there till half-time. Mark does have, I have to say, a fabulous record of getting to grounds just in time, and sometimes not quite just in time. And one of those efforts was Wimbledon, which I must confess, in my commentary, I may have spoken. If anybody listens, go back and listen to that commentary. I was absolutely starving. Got down to Wimbledon, and I came out of the tube at Southfields. Is it? I think it's Southfields, which I was told was the nearest train station. Note for everybody: no, it's bloody not, right? And so after a 2-mile walk, and I'm not built to walk 20 meters, let alone two miles, and I got there. I was starving. It was again very hot. And so go in, watch the first half, and it's a belter of a game. It's going really well. We'll have a little look at one of the highlights of that. And at halftime, I went and got myself a chicken souvlaki wrap, which I was advised by David was very good. And it was very good. And if you listen to that commentary, most of the second half that you'll hear is through a chicken souvlaki wrap. It was good, but it wasn't quite as good as this game. And the highlights don't probably show it, but let's just have a look at the goals and then we'll talk about the story. Here's Flo 5.
Wow.
And then we'll talk about when this was in the absolute last minute. Isabel Fisher.
Limbs everywhere.
There were limbs on the far side as well. Now, there's a story about this game because what happened was we were winning 1-0 and it was going all right, but they came onto the game in the second half and they got an equaliser. And it was, I have to say, it was fair dues. I thought they played well. It was a really good game, lovely day. Wimbledon is a lovely setup. Did I mention the chicken souvlaki wrap? I may have done. And then what happens is I think it was Poppy Wilson. I could be wrong, but I think Poppy Wilson got fouled. Who's a industrious midfield player. You'll have seen her score the winning goal in the playoff final the other year, I should say. She got fouled, and literally as she got fouled, as we're moving forward, she gets up, puts her hand on the ball, looks at the ref, and just plays a quick free kick. And the ball gets played to Coral Haynes, who will come up in future dispatches about this because what a player. She picks the ball up. She's about 35 yards. We've played a quick free kick, and the ref has clearly made the computation of, well, this is all right, isn't it? She's not going to do anything from there. And we're all going, that's Coral. She can do something from there. Takes a touch and buries it into the top corner from about 30 yards. And I'm not messing about. And he awarded the goal. Wimbledon kick off big style because you've let a free kick be taken quickly and we weren't ready and blah, 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 all of this sort of stuff. Their bench start attacking the linesman on the far side, who's the one in front of them, who's not actually in that half. He's the closest one to them. And then the referee goes over to the linesman, again, the person who's much further away from the incident and everything than the ref, turns round and does this, as in it's a rolling ball. And rolling ball, was it? No, it was not a rolling ball.
Yeah.
This is with about what, 5-10 minutes to go, maybe.
I think it was the 80th. Yeah, it was about the 80th minute because we were going absolutely mental because we thought, I stand corrected. I think it was about the 85th because we thought, yes, we've set up a grandstand finish. So now they're going to come at us. And then the controversy kicked off. And like we said afterwards, how Renee never got a straight red card.
Well, I can tell you exactly how she didn't get a straight red card in a moment. But we went on and literally that goal that you saw from, well, I say Isabel Fisher, the goalkeeper, the post, the bar, the other defender may have got somewhere in the way. But no, quite rightly, it was attributed to Isabel Fisher, who came through a number of people to get that ball away. We win 2-1. We all go mental again. It was great. I didn't buy another souvlaki wrap. That was fine. One was enough. But I decided that I'm not going to walk back to Southfields. I walked to Wimbledon Park station because I now found out it was much nearer. And it's great. And I got there and I sit down and I'm listening to stuff on the headphones. And I look up and there's this bloke wearing black jogging bottoms, black shirt. And it's a summer's day. It's an odd item to wear. So it's eye-catching. He turns around and he's got the FA badge. And he's got referee under it. I think, oh, it's you. It's the linesman from the far side. Because he's got a fine head of hair. He's got designer stubble and all of this sort of stuff. He stands out. So I go over and I say, excuse me, sorry, silly question. This will be a strange question because anybody who walks up to anybody in a train station and says, excuse me, were you the linesman at Watford Women versus Wimbledon? If it's a no, there's no real coming back from that particular situation. Fortunately, it was a yes. I said, what happened then? And basically, the ref threw him under the bus. The ref should have given what they describe as a ceremonial free kick, where he holds his whistle aloft and says, on my whistle, so that they can set up a wall and all of this. Basically, he just threw the lad under the bus. I went, you're kidding. Yeah. And at the end of all women's games, they all come over and you all end up having a chat and you find out loads of things. And exactly as Mark Rose just said there, the women's manager, Renee, had said, I have no idea how I didn't get a red card. The reason was he had every sympathy with her because it was like, well, no, that really shouldn't have happened. So there you go. Dodgy decisions, VAR, it's all as bad as each other. But that game gave us a sense of momentum. Now, I didn't get to Cheltenham for reasons too dull and too boring to get into. But it hoyed down with rain. But did either of you two gentlemen manage to get up to Gloucestershire? Oh,
I did.
And how long before the game did you manage to enter the ground?
Oh, I actually got this. This was a miracle. I actually got there 20 minutes before kickoff.
Oh, well done. Ridiculous. This could be a continuing theme.
Even Dave put in his match day vlog afterwards. He was left absolutely gobsmacked when he saw me walk in, like with minutes before the players were due to walk out. He was left a bit shocked. He went, "Where did you spring from?" I went, "Well, I left a bit earlier. That's why." Does help at times.
I love the way you say minutes, like it's the longest available unit of time available. I walked in with minutes to spare. Oh, look at me. Yeah. Well, it was a game that went basically forward and back, and really clinging on to get the win in inclement weather on an artificial surface, it looked like to me.
Yep.
How did all the limbs occur in that particular game?
Oh, it was chaos. It was chaos from minute one, really. The weather was wreaking havoc. You had strong winds blowing all across. 1 minute it was blowing one way, then it had changed directions. Cheltenham were pumping balls up, and the Watford girls thinking that they'd got it under control. And turns out that they've misjudged it by about 3 or 4 yards. It's gone right over the top of their heads. But unfortunately, the referee had a bit of a howl. I won't go too much into that. She was not at her best.
We wouldn't want to be disparaging to referees after just basically throwing the previous one under the bus.
We fought hard in the conditions. We battled for absolutely everything. Deservedly got the win. To take the lead, then get pegged back, then get sent down to 10 players because Dre decided that she wanted to clean someone out when she'd already been warned that she was running the risk of a red card. Decided she'd had enough and went flying in. So
red card is preceding her already. She's already had one vote via karaoke as well. So there you go. Right. Mark Hancock. Billericay, though, Billericay have not really been able to raise muster, but it was an interesting game because we did well for the first 60 minutes and then we slightly came off the boil a bit, didn't we? And we also had some injuries.
It was a weird game. It was really comfortable, yet uncomfortable at times. Obviously, Renee, after the game, said it all. She was fuming, even though we had just won 5-0. We were hoping to get some goals because Billericay's record so far this season hasn't been great, which we did get. But then it was, Maya getting injured in the first half, which put a downer on things, I think, because it was quite a bad injury with her hip. She fell awkwardly on her hip. And then the second half was just scrappy, wasn't it? It was not many passes were successful. And I think they just struggled to get into the rhythm of the game.
Yeah, it was a bad one because you had Maya Kendall, who we saw at the QPR game today, and it's not as bad as she feared. They feared that it was going to be a break involved. There fortunately wasn't or isn't. So she's hopefully going to be back soon. We also saw Flo Fife, who was doing a kind of a pseudo sort of fitness test. I don't think there was any suggestion that she'd be included in the squad, but see how she was. And she thinks she might be in for next week's trip down to Exeter as part of the squad. So we'll see. But also one that looked, on the day as bad as Myers was Annie Rossiter, who was in the game, and a combination of a challenge, a very rock hard surface, I have to say, at the time, because we really haven't had any rain. So, and it's not one of Kings Langley doesn't have the kind of the pop-up sprinklers that you'll see at Vicarage Road. And it really looked like one of those kind of jarring challenges. So it was an expensive win. And therefore, I imagine that's part of what Renee would have been worried about. But where does that put us in the table? Well, AFC Bournemouth are equal on points with us, but exactly as Mark Hancock there has just mentioned, because of the goal difference, because you can look down at the bottom there for Billericay, you want to have the goals against those just to make sure that if it does come level, you've got the goal difference to make up. So Watford are performing really well. A result against Plymouth was a better result for the fact that they are currently sitting in third than I think we probably appreciated at the time. And you can see why I said I think they've turned themselves quite well round. Gwalior United are from Wales. We haven't faced them yet, nor have we faced Rail Bedford. Anybody from Bedford will know what's going on with that. That's a club that's being bankrolled. It's like the Wrexham of the lower leagues almost, and he's investing, and fair play to him, in both the men's and the women's side. But the next thing I think we need to look at is basically this. active under the bus, everybody. Whose camera roll would get them cancelled the fastest? Now, obviously, there is some suggestions of illegality or whatever. Yeah, that's all fine. We'll brush over that completely. Mr. Rosa, what do you think? Who do you think has got the most damning of camera rolls that may indeed get them cancelled?
Oh, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go with. I'm going to say Maddie Perry.
Maddie Perry. So you're basically saying there's lots of pictures on her camera roll of her trying to sing and not very well, and it's cancelable. That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Hancock, sir, who do you suspect has infamous camera? And I will tell you on this one, there is an outright winner. There's a lot of throwing under the bus going on.
There's something about Anna Philby which is jumping out at me.
That's possibly too much information, but that's good. I like that.
I can't tell you why, but
let's.
Yeah.
well, we'll find out. I ask her a question and she tells me she can't tell me why. Let's find out whose camera roll is getting them cancelled.
Neve, I'm going to stick in there, probably. I'm probably going to say Neve, just because I know her the best.
Lashante. So I want to say Lashante.
Oh. Lashante Paul. I'd probably say Maddie Perry.
Lashante, 100%.
There's no question.
Incriminating evidence is on Lashante's phone.
I can't answer that.
Whose camera roll would get Lashante?
Lashani or Maddie.
It's fascinating to know, but once these girls get into the sway of, oh, throw her under the bus, what? Gone. Absolutely. I like that very much indeed. Well, we'll get on to more moral quandaries in a moment, but today we've had 5 games in the league, but this has been supplemented by a cup run, and the cup run is, well, it's probably the wrong word for it really, because it's played in a group stage, and we played the last game today. First game was literally the second game of the season under floodlights, where we took on Charlton at home, beat them 7-0. Cheshire United came to us the other week, 9-0. That was a lot of fun. Megan Chandler goal stolen by Maya Kendall. We'll discuss this. And then today, obviously, those score lines make it look non-competitive, which I think is probably, it's a fair observation on some of the games, but some of them, especially today, I thought was a more kind of a better workout. The Charlton game was, they put out some of their second string. It's been used, I think, to really see, especially with the Watford team, the depth and the breadth of the squad that we've got, which I think has been the step up from last season. And we've lost some players, and we'll get on to, because we saw one of them today, who I think we got very attached to, very good quality. But the depth that's now come in, the players that have now stepped up, is really quite something. Ms. Hancock, what have you thought about the cup and how that's been used? Because we have started to use the phrase league team and cup team, and they're starting to fuse a little bit, because some are coming through from one into the other and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. You look at especially Charlton and Chesham games, it was more of a sort of second string.
Yeah.
But then players such as Neve at the back, Ava Kaiken, who played brilliantly in the first half today, they've started not creeping in, but the cup performances have led to more league appearances. And I think the fact that the sort of second string have played so well in the cup and scored all these goals has pushed the first team, because they know they've got players on their heels chomping at the bit that can perform and trying to get their first team place. So yeah, totally, it's the strongest squad we've had for a couple of years, I think, by a long way.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree. It seems that the whole point about keeping everybody on their toes was fantastic. Today we had Marcy O'Meara, who so far in all the videos has basically said, no, blame me. If anybody wants to ever interrogate Marcy, she'll crumble under the first thing. However, in the midfield, she does not. She is just a metronome. She gets the ball and she gives it. She gets the ball and she gives it, and she's always available. And she's got, some people might look at her and go, oh, what is it she does? And the answer is she does the most complicated thing in football, which is keeping it simple. She sees something and she plays her first pass, and she's got one of these levels of awareness, which is she knows what she's going to do with the ball before she gets it, and she makes herself available for the person on the ball. And it just means you keep rotating. And as you mentioned there, Ava Kaiken in the first half with her, they've sat at the base of the midfield, and I genuinely think that it's a it's a toss of a coin as to who's going to start in the next in the next league game, because I think those two girls have come in and been fabulous amongst a whole array of those players who've come in and done that all over the park. Lashante is one of those players who today was just a constant threat on the left. Lashante Paul, obviously don't look at a camera roll, but other than that, she's a constant threat in terms of going forward, and she can be in either squad. And so suddenly what we've got is these players who are bolstering the familiar names people will know, the Annie Rossiter, the Poppy Wilson, the Meg Chandler, the Annie Mayweld, all of these people and all of these players who are known and they're absolutely part of everything. They've got a light under them, haven't they, Mark? Oh, Mr. Rose?
Yeah, they have. And I think the last couple of years, I think we've relied heavily on a core group of players, and at times it's taken its toll on them. I think I'd go back to the other year. Meg Chandler missed half a season because she was injured.
Yeah.
And it was so hard. We missed her so much, and we didn't have that person to come in and fill the void. But last season, things started to change a bit, and it was a case of Meg picked up a knock, and it's like, well, we haven't got to rush you back because we've got a little bit of cover now. And now this season, we've got more than enough cover, because we've seen today she's sat on the bench for the whole match, and it's great to see that she can have a weekend off, rest her legs, and then come next weekend she'll be back in the 11 and ready to go, for like completely refreshed.
The question on everybody's lips, other than where did they find the Instagram for the FA, is, roughly speaking, if one of the squad who should never be trusted to babysit. Now, this is contentious here, because it's, let's face it, we're looking at, there could be maternal instincts and there could be not maternal instincts, but we're not judging. No, their squad mates are judging. So let's see what we think about that. Mr. Hancock, sir, who do you suspect other squad members, not us, of course, we would never cast aspersions, but other squad members might look at it and go, not so sure that I would trust my firstborn with her.
Oh, God, that's a tough one.
Welcome to Do Not Scratch Your Eyes.
You've seen Sophie McLean down at Kings Langley with her newborn baby, or 3-month-old baby, and all the players are going around her. So
we're going to change the name of this competition for Mark, therefore, the Maddie Perry competition, because he's basically thrown her under the bus on every single time. There we go. Mr. Rose, sir.
That was Mr. Rose.
I am going to go with, because I saw something on Insta, I think back early in the summertime, which has got my mind thinking about this.
Oh no, we were just about to have the big reveal, and we've had a pause in proceedings.
One eternity later.
So, Mr. Rose, sir, who do you suspect is the least trustworthy of all the potential babysitters in the squad?
Right, just before the phone decided to kick me out, I am going to go with Dre. I saw something in the summertime on her Instagram story, which made me think about this.
Oh, this is starting an entirely different pack of wolves running in different directions here.
I'm never going to pick Dre for anything, just in case he wants to tackle me or something.
Let's find out who.
She'll probably kill me
Who
now.
on the youngsters? I feel like I'm going to throw either under the bus.
Lucy.
I say Coral. She works in a school though.
Yeah, I know, but I've seen her with Chloe's kids.
Yeah. I'd probably say Coral as well.
Oh, it's probably like Daisy.
Just like Lashante again.
Maddie Perry. Maddie.
Maddie Perry and Coral Haynes are seemingly, and let's face it, unfairly untrusted. I think the thought is that basically if Coral had a baby, she'd do a step over and then move the baby in another direction, basically, because that's what she does all on the time. Whereas Maddie Perry has just basically been thrown under the bus by Daisy, who for any of these going forward will always be interviewed together because they basically egg each other on. It's a very fine thing indeed. So there we go. It's a double win. Maddie's done very well today. She can't sing and I won't lend her my baby. That's basically what we're saying here. It's all unfair. Who so far, because we've gone through August and September, and we probably want to make this now, as per the name of this nonsense, a monthly kind of review, bring everybody up to date. We would love to see everybody obviously come down to Kings Langley as often as possible. We'd love to see some games going on at Vicarage Road, because obviously the crowds go up and people come and see it. And if you see it a first time, you are statistically far more likely to see a second game once you've seen your first. If you don't see a first, you'll never get to the second. See what I did there? Clever play on statistics. But who would we say might be the player for August and September? Who's individually here? Who do you think? Yeah, I think that person's had a really impressive couple of months. Let's start with Mr. Rose before his phone gets hot and all up at us again.
Yeah, before it decides to blow up this time. I am going to go with Mark's thrown her under the bus, but I think Maddie. She's been on fire from the word go.
Maddie Perry, there you go. Maddie lighting this place up. What with untrustworthiness, bad songs, and football. I like that. Good, Mr. Hancock. Are you just gonna play back to the Maddie Perry loving that you're currently having, or are you going to elect somebody else?
No, she deserved a worthy mention, Maddie Perry. I'm gonna go with the skipper, Megan Chandler. I think she is just such a sort of calming presence and such a big influence on everyone else, and solid at the back. Great as a number 9. Who would have known? Took her goal brilliant. I think she's just everything good sort of comes from her kind of leadership. I think it's massive for us. And as Mark said earlier, when we missed her when she was injured, it was a massive loss of the team. But I just think overall, I think she's key to everything we do.
Very good. We have to explain that. We have to explain one of the cup games, which was the one Cheshire United, who came and they were fantastic. And I know a lot of people involved in and around that they cannot speak highly enough of the women's set up at Cheshire, which is lovely to hear. However, we were absolutely on fire that day. And what happened momentarily was, this was one of the games where Meg was on the bench. And with about, 15 minutes perhaps ago, they brought her on, and centre-half extraordinaire got put up front. And, of course, we're all there and doing what supporters do, which is generally being supportive. No, tell a lie. We were falling about laughing at this prospect.
Yeah.
Ball gets played through and it absolutely finishes. I'll tell you what, why don't we just have a look at those goals, and you can see, just hang on to the end of these, because one she scores and one she has robbed. See what you think about these. Look at this. Here we are. Ava Quaken, we've just been talking about it, playing the ball out. This was the first one. Lashante Paul, as we know, don't break her phone, otherwise basically the world will fall to pieces. Marcy O'Meara just standing up there calmly and just finishing the ball. And that's as excited as Marcy gets, having scored. She just kind of shakes hands. Here we go. Maya Kendall, she was absolutely flying that day. Frida, the freestyler. She's got 2.6 million followers for her freestyling kind of stuff. There you go. There's another goal. Who was that? I think that was Frida as well. Yep. That was Lashante.
Yeah, that's Frida.
Of course. Lashante got the hat trick this time, didn't she? There you go.
Yes.
Now, this was a goal that started the trend, which is if you've just scored in this game, you then immediately got substituted.
Yeah. 2 minutes.
Anna Philby Anna Philby had basically come on early due to another injury to Lucy Lyon, and she was only going to get given half an hour. She scored and then immediately got taken off. We like very much. Maddie Perry there finishing closely by. I think now there's a couple here from Lashante.
Yes,
there's the first one. That was a cracker.
But she went off after that.
You can see the trees that I was talking about landscaping at Kings Langley. Look at the pleasant trees background. Don't do that. Look at the game, obviously. Here we go. Megan's on.
Here we go.
Finishes with her left foot. And we're all like going, oh, this is amazing. She's only been on literally, 2 minutes at that point? Finished as calmly as you like. And now, here we go. Here's the contentious moment. Bobby Wilson plays the ball in, gets a touch. That's going in. I'm having that, says Maya.
My first thought on that goal was Maya played so well that game. she was the best player on the pitch by a mile. She was absolutely brilliant. So I immediately, fair play, she deserved that goal. It's unfortunate it was Meg, because it would have been funny for Meg to get 2.
Yeah.
You know, she'd done really well to get it past the keeper, but Maya deserved the goal that game.
Well, in fairness, we were all behind the goal, and Meg had put that ball in and was almost there to accept the adulation.
Yeah.
And when Maya went and nicked it, she just laughed out loud and went over and high-fived. There's very little ego involved in this team. It's very much a team ethic, as we saw today, with a number of players who are either injured or weren't in the squad, who were there to support the wider squad and the wider team as well, which is lovely. But there we go.